En nuestro país es mayoritariamente católico.
Our country is mainly Catholic, but in Venezuela, religions coexist and have always coexisted.
Toda la vida, siempre.
There hasn't ever been anything that could even appear to be religious opposition.
Roy Daza is with the Foreign Relations Committee of the National Assembly. So there is no government-sponsored anti-Semitism in Venezuela?
Conozco mucho a mi país.
I know my country well, and now, where have I seen an anti-Semitic group or a movement? That doesn't even exist in Venezuela. In Venezuela, it is truly even absurd that we talk about this.
So the graffiti that we are seeing today, spray painted outside the Tiferet Synagogue, some anti-Semitic graffiti we saw in the plaza outside the National Assembly, that is not the work of anti-Semites. That's at the hands of just juvenile delinquents that have no religious motivation to do that?
Lo más seguro, ¿quién lo sabe?
Most likely. Who knows? Imagine, could you in a city in the United States identify and know who wrote some graffiti or who says something by means of a wall? That is simply, how can I say it, almost impossible to determine. Why some graffiti is on a wall or somewhere else. People say a lot of things.
In America, if somebody spray paints an anti-Semitic message on the wall of a synagogue, we know that it's meant to threaten and intimidate the Jewish community.
Pero usted me está preguntando por un graffiti.
But you are asking me about graffiti, and I'm responding regarding the graffiti. If you are conducting an interview based on what graffiti says, I have to respond regarding what you are asking me.
We have had people in the Jewish community tell us that they feel threatened and they don't feel safe here anymore.
No tiene sentido que continuemos porque
it doesn't make sense that we continue because what she is trying to, in the interview that you are doing, you are trying to get me to slip up so that you can confirm the thesis that you have. The thesis that you have is that there are attacks against Jews, and I will always tell you that is absurd. And the political opposition outside Venezuela made use of this delinquent act to oppose the government of President Chavez. And we are not ever going to permit that someone comes here to attack President Chavez.
Daza says his government's position against Israel has no connection to the Jewish people.
Ruptura de las relaciones con Israel.
The rupture of the relations with Israel has no idealistic type of cause, no religious perspective. It has nothing to do with that. The rupture of the relations with Israel are due to the attack that the Israeli state committed against the Gaza Strip.
But members of the Jewish community say Chavez's stance against Israel is really about anti-Semitism.
So you turn your anti-Semitic feelings into being anti-Israel. But what you really are is anti-Semitic. But it's a way of expressing it that is sort of acceptable in today's world.
I'm not ignorant of the fact that we are not liked by Chavez and his people.
Some of those people appear to include Islamic extremists.
Hezbollah is in Venezuela. There was a person called Teodoro Darnot. He's the head of Hezbollah Venezuela. He was the mastermind behind a bomb that was planted at the American embassy.
Teodoro Darnot is a Venezuelan who founded the group Hezbollah Venezuela. In 2006, he orchestrated a plan to bomb the U.S. and Israeli embassies here. The plan failed.
He confessed. He was condemned, obviously. I mean, if he confessed, he had 10 years for terrorism. But he's not in jail. A convicted terrorist that runs Hezbollah Venezuela is not in jail. He is at the political police headquarters in an office with faxes, with computers, cell phones, photocopy machines, whatever. He runs Hezbollah Venezuela from a government police office. I mean, isn't this incredible?
Yeah, well, it's sort of astounding to think that that's actually happening.
But that is happening. I mean, the man was condemned. He should be in a jail. I mean, in a jail cell with everybody else. No, he's got special privileges, very special privileges.
So you say, here he is, he's been condemned for this terrorist attack, and he is going freely about his life, and here you are, an upstanding, law-abiding member of, you're a Venezuelan, you're a member of the Jewish community, and you say you can't go about your life freely.
That is correct. That's a paradox. I mean, it's really hard to explain.
For Susie Aglicki, the current hostility towards the Jewish community is even more painful when compared to the safe haven that Venezuela once was.
Do you think if, hypothetically speaking, Chavez was in power in 1939 when your boat was looking for a safe harbor, would he have allowed the two boats to come into Venezuela?
No, not with his position as it is. No.
Do you think he would like to see all Jews gone out of Venezuela?
I think so. Yes. I really think so.
That sounds really horrible to me.
Yes, it is horrible. It is really horrible. We don't want to give him el gusto, ¿cómo se dice? Darle el gusto.
The satisfaction of leaving?
Give him the satisfaction
But
of
you
leaving.
really believe that he would like it if there were no more Jews in Venezuela at all?
Yeah, that would please him a lot, and that would make his friends very happy.
One does not feel as free in 2010 as one felt in 1990, let us say, 20 years ago. It is definitely not the same. Otherwise, I don't think we would have had the exodus, the very important hemorrhage in the Jewish community.
Over the past 10 years, nearly half of Venezuela's Jewish community has left. At Hebraica, enrollment at the school is down 45%, and synagogue congregations are dwindling.
If I do 50 weddings a year, 45 weddings a year, maybe 3 of the couples will remain in Venezuela.
Really?
95% will not live in Venezuela. Many come here to do their wedding because they don't live here anymore. That's what's going on.
Some families have been torn apart, while others are forced to stay simply because they can't leave.
I have one daughter. She lives here. Her husband is an MD and an obstetrician. He's not able to leave and work somewhere else. He's in his 50s. So it's not practically possible for us. And then most of the people who have left are young people. And the young people who start their lives in another country, usually in the United States, for them it is wonderful, great, and it is much easier.